Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. You know, last year, in August, I had a gentleman on the radio show. And not only did I have this gentleman, but I had his lovely wife on the radio show. And we were talking about the journey that they have taken as members of Lifestyles Unlimited. You see, this young family lives in a faraway land. The place is called Miami, Florida. And they wanted to change the direction of their life. After a year of marriage, they were just getting tired of taking their son to school early in the morning, dropping him off, and then picking him up so late at night that they really didn't have any quality time with him. And they felt that they were missing something very important. And at that point, they realized what they were doing was not going to work out for their game plan for what life was supposed to be. So they sought answers. They looked in different directions to find a way to change the path that their life was following. And they stumbled across Lifestyles Unlimited. Now, they flew from Miami all the way to Houston, Texas, to go through what we call our Financial Freedom Seminar. That's where we teach you everything you need to know to invest in single-family and multifamily properties. And like me, they have what's called a built-in truth detector. In other words, if something sounds fishy, they're going to call it out, and they're going to question it. And they were a little concerned that maybe the information they were receiving in the seminar was not all-inclusive. In other words, there must have been a man behind the curtain pulling the strings. Well, as the seminar went on, those concerns were put to rest. And Isaac and Carolina started a journey of investing in real estate. Last August, I had them on the show, and we talked about that journey. We talked about what it was that caused them to change paths. And really, it was a focus on their family. It was a focus on creating an environment that served their purpose in life. And back then, I think they had 7 or 8 properties. And since then, they've been busy. They're up to like 11 single-family properties, which is comprised of 3 duplexes, of 4plexes, and 7 single-family homes. And they've done this during coronavirus. Now, along the way, we at Lifestyles Unlimited were paying attention to what they were doing, to what they were creating in their life. And the leadership at Lifestyles Unlimited reached out to Isaac and said, hey man, you're doing well. You're changing the direction of your life. Would you be interested in joining our team? And more importantly, would you be interested in helping other people achieve what you've achieved? And along that lines, one of the most interesting components that Isaac brings to the Lifestyles Unlimited organization is his ability to live in one place, Miami, Florida, and invest in another place, Houston, Texas. It's about a 1,500-mile span between the two cities. Yet he invested correctly, and he is bearing the fruits. And now he is helping our members understand that what he did is very possible for them too.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, my friend?
Blessed, man. Very, very, very blessed.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a beautiful family. You've changed the direction of your life. I mean, you're calling the shots, and I think that's super important. And I think one of the other things that the audience needs to understand is that you did all of this in your early 30s. You're not somebody that went to work in corporate America for forever, like many people do. You saw a different path, and you went down it. So tell me a little bit about your family, and tell me a little bit about what it was like to switch gears. Was it scary?
Oh, man, scary? I don't know if that even encompasses all. To be honest, it was probably there's scary and there's like a deeper scary, right? Because when we started investing in lifestyles, we had a son. My wife and I were recently married, so it's no longer just me making financial decisions for myself. I have two other people that depend on decisions that my wife and I make, and overall, my wife and I have done everything together. You said something great, like tell me a little bit about your family. Number one, I have a beautiful wife, and because of my beautiful wife, I have beautiful kids. That's the formula that works. And by the grace of God, she's been more than just support. She's come alongside. She's helped out in so many different areas. So we have two kids, a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old. We started investing right before our 3-year-old was born. We actually wanted to kind of speed up the process because we wanted to be able to get my wife financially free, stop working before our daughter was born, so that she didn't have to go back to work when our second child was born, to create that freedom already there and kind of have the young age of the kids still 100% with my wife and, of course, me. But her without having to go to her 9 to 5.
Sounds like you got a little tongue-tied there thinking about your family. Yeah. And you know what? That's totally appropriate, man. Let the emotions come. Because what we're going to get into today is not only your story, but how you're able to help others. Stick around. You're going to learn a lot.
Warning, listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show will change your life. We will teach you how to create wealth and passive income so you can be financially free. And now, back to your host.
Welcome back to the show. So if you're just joining us, I have Isaac Martinez on the show. And Isaac has been a member of Lifestyles Unlimited for 4.5 years. He's actually been a member longer than I have been. And in that time period, he changed the direction of his life. I mean, he moved away from the corporate grind and helped his wife move away from her 9 to 5 and created an environment where the passive income that is produced by his investment properties has created a situation in his life where his wife doesn't have to go back to that 9 to 5. And it created an even bigger shift in Isaac's personal journey because he was able to step away from what he was doing for somebody else. And now he's a part of the Lifestyles Unlimited team, helping our members nationwide understand that it's okay to live where you want and invest where it makes sense. So, Isaac, tell me a little bit about this whole mentoring thing. I mean, what's the big thing that people could expect if they become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited and they decide that they want dedicated mentoring and, maybe they're living outside of the state of Texas? What are the things that you talk about?
So that's a great question. In my mentoring, when I kind of get to speak to someone first, I get to know them. I believe everybody starts at a different point in their life, and everyone wants to get to a different point. So when they join Lifestyles, I get the opportunity. I really do feel it's that when I get to it, I don't have to. I get to be able to talk to members and say, hey, where are you at? What are we looking at just financially? Where are you at in your life? What about your kids? What do you want? And seeing where they're at right now and where they want to go. Through our mentoring, I kind of help them create a roadmap of what's the best way to get there. they ultimately decided they want to go that route or a different route. But we get to talk about a lot of things. But, I talk to a lot of members, and I help a lot of members that are outside of not only Texas, but a lot of states that real estate investing doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So they're looking to invest and pour money into Texas, Phoenix, Atlanta, markets that really make sense. So being at a state to be able to get in there, a lot of the stuff is not just financially how to kind of make it happen. It's an emotional part too. Owning something where you can't physically go touch the sheetrock and bricks and stuff like that, it gets to you and it makes you doubt. Having to trust people outside of where you live that you can't just go there and shake their hand, it creates doubt. So Lifestyles has an incredible vendor program that allows this to kind of be facilitated easier. But I walk through them. I call it emotional surgery, kind of removing your emotions from the moment and seeing it for what it is. It's carpet, it's flooring. This is what a home is. But even more than that, it's numbers, a team, and your mentor. And that's what will equal success, remotely.
So by the time a member actually sits down and talks with you, they've gone through the Financial Freedom Program. We've given them all the tools that they need for their toolkit, and they are prepared to go into the world. And when you have that opportunity to talk to them, what is your sensing for where people are at? I mean, do people come in with, maybe they still have some fear that maybe they can't do this? Or do people come in just like gung-ho and they're just going to take the world by storm? Or is it, a combination of that? What is going through the minds of the people that you work with?
It's so cool because it really is a combination. You get a combination from a husband and wife, one that's gung-ho, ready to go, the other one that's super skeptic still, even going through the course. You get some couples that are both ready to go. You have some couples that maybe delay their initial mentor meeting because they don't really want to get started. So you get a combination, and that's where a lot of the questioning comes in when I first started, and I listen to them, understand what their fears are, what are their thoughts, where are they coming from, and be able to address some of them during a mentor meeting, but put together and help them put a roadmap. And it's all based on what Dell has been teaching and us teaching Lifestyles for 30-plus years. It really is, that's the foundation. But many times you have to word it differently for certain people to understand it and get it and be able to help them. And Lifestyle does such a great job on being able to do that. So you get a combination of kind of everyone. So it's kind of my job to decipher, okay, where are we here? Like, are you ready to go? If you are, you need to slow down a little bit, get your education fully done. Let's get these things in order. Or do I need to kind of push you a little bit more and say, all right, let's go next, and kind of help them throughout the process?
Is it a situation where, somebody sits down with you and talks to you and they're one and done, or are you there the entire way?
So I'll give you the example. I remember a lot of my mentor. My mentor was Phil Hawks, and I'm very grateful for him because when I first started off, I had him on speed dial. I really did. He has this really smooth accent, and it just makes you feel so much better as you're going through everything. But even more, he helped me out at every step of the way, not just my initial mentor meeting. I send him inspection reports. I send him foundation reports. I send him pictures. I send him a lot of different things throughout the process. I asked him questions about lending, and there's a lot of stuff he could help me out with. If he didn't, he will kind of reach out to his resources and help me out. But it was a relationship that we were able to build, and I needed him a lot on my first deal. I needed him a little less on my second and my third deal. I think by the fourth one, I think I called him once or twice after that, just asked him, questions sparingly. But he was always there throughout the entire process, as much or as little as I needed him. Some members need a little bit more help. Some members need a little bit less. But Lifestyles wants us to be available to the members through every step of the way, and that's what I get to do.
I know for a fact that you touch a lot of lives and you've seen transformation occur in those lives. Give me an example of, and don't say their name, but just give me an example of transformation that you've experienced.
Being a mentor, it's been, it's such a short 5-6 months, but I'll tell you one couple. They were not very young. They're kind of on their second half of kind of their life, and they're looking to, one of them has health issues, the other one didn't. And they wanted to kind of get away from corporate America. And they're in a different state. They're actually in Virginia, and they've been wanting to kind of join Lifestyles. I had the opportunity to mentor them, and they wanted to get into the Texas market. So the Texas market is, not just hot, it's on fire. So I helped them not only kind of go through, kind of work with them what an MLS deal may look like, but also a wholesale deal. And I'm not going to get into what a wholesale deal and kind of go through all that route, but since they joined in less than 5 months, they've not only bought one wholesale deal as their first property out of state, they've been able to remodel it, and it's now, they just rented it, and they're already in the middle of their second deal. So it's just beautiful seeing people in action being out of state.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch people gain confidence and understand that they can do this. And we come back from the break, we're actually going to talk about the Texas market. Stick around.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. It's time to turn up the volume and fine-tune your passive income plan so you can create the lifestyle you've always wanted.
Welcome back to the show. So Isaac and I were chatting it up in the break, and, I get that benefit when I have somebody on the show and we're at commercial break. You're hearing the commercials, which pay the bills, and we appreciate that. But Isaac and I kind of had an opportunity to talk a little bit, and we were talking about the experience of people like ourselves that are interested in changing the direction of their life, and they're searching for different avenues that could produce the results that they're looking for. And what Isaac and I have found, as well as the 50,000 members of Lifestyles Unlimited, we have found that by investing in residential income-producing real estate and doing it correctly, because trust me, you can really mess it up if you don't know what you're doing. But when you do it correctly, you can start one property at a time to change your life. And you can get yourself on a path to retirement in a much quicker time frame than what you're probably doing right now for retirement planning. It's just the way it is. And I'm going to share something with you that I don't think I have shared on this show before. So, full disclosure, here it comes. One of the things that we do at Lifestyles Unlimited is we give you the opportunity to check us out. We want you to make an informed decision with regards to membership in our organization. And to do that, we offer what's called a free workshop. It's an hour-and-a-half session where we talk about the things that you need to know, which actually are the beginning stages of the financial map that we help you learn. And I get the opportunity every once in a while, I'm asked to do those free workshops. And I'll tell you what, when I get that opportunity, I get excited because it's an opportunity for me to share with you what was shared with me 3.5 years ago, or what was shared with Isaac 4.5 years ago, that put us on a path to changing our lives. And what I think is really cool about these free workshops is when we're done presenting the information that you need to hear, we go into a question and answer session. And there are other members of Lifestyles Unlimited that do these presentations. I'm not the only guy. But I'm willing to stay there as long as I need to make sure that all the questions are answered, because that's what we believe in. We believe in giving you the information you desperately desire so that you can start to change your life. So Isaac, what I think is really cool, and we kind of talked about this at the break, is the fact that when I give these presentations, and of course in the coronavirus environment, we're doing everything through webinar, but it's all interactive. And there are a lot of people from across the nation that attend these workshops. And one of the questions that I routinely get is a question along the lines of, well, hey, I live in California. And I tell them, well, what we do at Lifestyles Unlimited doesn't work for most parts of California. Now, there are probably some pockets out in California where our model works, but because of the way real estate is like tipped in the wrong direction, what we do doesn't work effectively there. But it works effectively in other markets. So the question I get, Isaac, and I'm going to field it to you, how difficult is it to live in one part of the country and invest in another part of the country?
So you're right. You started off saying that there's a lot of states that it doesn't work. And there's people living in there that say, well, I want to live here, but it doesn't work here. And so how do I make that possible? And the answer is, when you first start and you think of what it can or may take to get there and what to do, mentally it could be very daunting. It could be overwhelming. There's so many questions that you don't have answers to that sometimes you don't even want to try or even think about getting in there. But when you start and you kind of go to the Financial Freedom Seminar and you do the 2-day course and then you start sitting down with a mentor, those thoughts and all those questions get broken down in a way that's very easy to mull over, to chew on, and do step by step by step. We have some members that they join and they want to buy a property from one day to the other. And I sometimes say, whoa, let's get certain things in, and let's get our ducks in a row, then start getting ready. There's some members that say, well, I'll kind of take my time, and like, look, you create your own path and however long it takes, but this is the best way. So when you first think about it, it's very daunting. But when you actually do it, it's not as hard anymore as it used to be. Technology has really changed the game. There's different formats and different ways to be able to do it as if you're living there. You got to create trust with people. You got to be able to build a team. There's work involved, but it's not as hard as you initially think it can be.
So another question I tend to get is along the lines of the financial contribution to the investment. So, people are concerned that you need to have a couple $100,000 to get started in real estate. And I share with them, no, it's not necessarily true. Now, if you had a couple $100,000, it's certainly a great place to start. But what do you see from your experience with regards to how much money should folks have available to get started investing correctly?
So I'll tell you my story. My wife and I, we had a total investment of less than $50,000 to start with in real estate. That was how much we had, and that's that we liquidated our 401ks and put everything together. We were newlyweds, so we didn't have a whole lot of capital. And now that's transitioned into 11 properties we've been able to buy, and we're still buying, and we're still continue going. And the answer is it's not as much as you think. Now, this is not a no money down, get rich quick scheme. That's not what this is. But the answer is to join in single family. I would highly suggest you have at minimum in this market today between $35,000 to about $40,000 to be able to join the program and start investing and be able to buy your first deal. Just, markets investments are getting a little tighter. So there's a little bit more out of pocket, but nowhere near what you may expect. So that's the most concrete answer that I could probably give you.
That's a great answer. Another question that tends to filter through is the thought that people have been contributing to maybe an IRA or maybe a 401k, and they have concern. I mean, they want to protect that sacred thing that they call their retirement account. Is it possible to invest from within those types of vehicles?
Absolutely. There's different ways, whether, you can either lend against it, you can go ahead and take it out. Yeah, you take a financial hit, but I took a financial hit. We cashed everything out, and we took a hit 1 year. I've made, 10, 20, 30-fold off of that, whatever I lost, being able to do that. It is very hard when you talk to people, and I never make that the first option. I say, let's see what you got of cash on hand, stocks, bonds, let's talk about other stuff. But if you have that available, it is definitely an incredible way to start getting in. And there's more than one way to actually use that to invest in real estate.
Yeah, the experience that I've received from other members is that you got to do just that. You got to cash that money in because your returns are going to be so much greater outside of those vehicles. Stick around. More great info coming up.
We're back with the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. We're here to answer your questions and help you become financially free.
Welcome back to the show. Man, I'll tell you what, time is flying today. You know, when you hang out with like-minded people, like I'm doing on today's show, you realize that you have a lot of things in common. And that camaraderie that's created by getting to know other people that are trying to do the exact same thing you're trying to do, or people that have achieved exactly what you want to achieve, and they are there dedicated to helping you along the line is so absolutely powerful. And what got me on this topic is the fact that Isaac and I, we have a mutual relation in Lifestyles Unlimited. This gentleman's name is Josh, and he's one of our ambassadors. Now, if you don't know what the ambassador program is in Lifestyles Unlimited, it is members who basically decide they want to give back to the community. And what they want to do is they want to create groups of like-minded people in their general area to reinforce everything that we do at Lifestyles Unlimited. And Josh just happens to be one of those guys. And you've heard Josh on the show before. Josh is my scuba diving buddy down in the Keys of Florida. Well, because Josh lives in Florida and Isaac lives in Florida, they kind of get together because their friendships are not mutually exclusive to me. And they got together just recently and they talked about real estate. Isaac, can you fill me in on what it's like to be a part of a community of like-minded investors down there in the greater Florida area?
You know, being able to get together with people here in Florida, number one, they're all Lifestyles members, you know, being able to see this remotely, and a lot of them own real estate here, some own it out there. So be able to learn more about the local market from those that are like-minded like you are, and be able to talk about real estate way out there. It's just a beautiful thing. These people are, so many of them are so much more successful than I am, and a lot of them have been doing it for so much longer than I have. To sit there and just have a meal and talk to them and listen to them, it's like paying to learn from, paying, and I mean paying like just to eat like your food, there and learn. And I learned from people that have apartment complexes here in Miami, Fort Myers, a little bit more on the West Coast. A few of them have tons of properties in Texas. And just listen to what they're doing, how they're doing it, what they've been doing, where the trend is going. And this is even more from, you know, daytime information from investors. And no, don't do this part of Miami, do that part of Miami. This is growing, this is slowed down. But really open, because the abundance mentality that Lifestyles teaches, every one of them encompasses. So it's really open-ended conversations that, hey, I'll share with everything I got, and I'll share with you everything that I know, because there's enough real estate to go out there for everyone. So let's just talk openly about numbers and talk about where we're doing it, who we've used. It's a real beautiful thing because it builds trust, and then from there you continue learning.
So what do you get out of it? I mean, personally, when you meet with these people, I mean, you're talking about all these different areas in Florida. What is it that you personally get from those conversations that's helping you to shape the future of your real estate business?
So for me, it, number one, makes me a little bit more, at least for me, this is me personally, okay? So this is not Isaac's single family mentor answer. This is an Isaac Martinez live in Miami answer. It makes me, you know, very grateful that we went to Texas when we didn't invest there, because the numbers here in Florida and in South Florida still don't work. And listening to a lot of the members that own properties here for decades, kind of saying, hey, it's really tight. I don't know if I would continue buying, or, hey, I probably have to hold, or, hey, it used to be a lot better. And seeing as I still consider myself a newbie, I'm grateful that our lifestyles came into our lives and we were able to do this remotely. So that's me personally. That's a real, just honest, personal answer. Two, it builds relationships with people that if I have a question, I don't have to figure out, go through a whole list. No, I just call up Josh, call up so-and-so and say, yeah, I got this question. What are your thoughts? And it allows me to bounce back and forth ideas with others that, again, that will be honest, that will be truthful, that are friends, but they're knowledgeable, right? So that's what it creates for me.
So do you meet one-on-one, or do you meet with a larger group of people?
We tell members to meet one-on-one in large groups. I personally have met just in large groups. We'll go to a local restaurant here in the Grove. It's Coconut Grove, and about 20 of us got together and just listening to everybody's experiences. And there was a few passive investors. There was a few multifamily investors. There was a few that own the complexes here in Florida and a little further. There were single-family owners across. They kind of own properties everywhere. So I really enjoy that large group. So you learn a little bit from everyone. There was a couple of new members as well that came on board. One of my friends that came into Lifestyles, he showed up. It was real cool. So we suggest members to meet, however they can, one-on-one or large groups. I know COVID. I guess I have to put the disclaimer: be COVID safe and friendly, whatever that looks like for your city and state. But whichever way you got to, I've been able to do it more as a group.
I really benefit personally from those opportunities to meet with those other like-minded individuals. I'm able to help people that are coming up behind me. I'm able to learn from those people that are ahead of me. And I'm able to just share information that is important to everybody's well-being and the growth of their business. And, along that lines, really, what you and I have done, as well as all the other members of Lifestyles Unlimited, we have actually created a business for ourselves following the model, or the map, as Dell likes to call it, at Lifestyles Unlimited. How difficult is it to build that business?
The business of buying remotely, or the business of which business specifically?
Oh, just the overall business with all of those assets contained within it.
So it is, the practical portion of it is not as daunting and is not as hard as you expect it to come in. With the specific education that's given and kind of step-by-step process, with the vendor list plus a couple and the realty team that you have access to when you're a challenge or a preferred member, it really is a lot easier to get started than anybody ever thinks. I remember coming in and how daunting it was, but I had an old boss on my first job out of college that this saying used to just bother me all the time because he had a lot of unrealistic expectations. But he always said, how do we take care of a big problem? How do you eat an elephant is actually the way he said it. You take one bite at a time. And that now, 36, I realize how true that statement is, and that parable, I guess you want to put it. But it really is seeing that, hey, this makes sense to get from A to, M. I'm going to have to go through step by step by step. So you got to do the work, but the work is not as hard. It's nowhere near as difficult as most members believe seeing in. It takes an opportunity. It takes a moment to actually say, hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to start this. And that's where a lot of members start seeing success, is when they make that decision.
I have found that the entire Lifestyles Unlimited model, or map, is really a two-phased approach. The first phase is to get you to that point of retirement where you have enough passive income coming in that it meets or exceeds your bills. Once you've done that, you've effectively retired yourself. And to me personally, that means you regain control of your life. You're the one that makes decisions with regards to what you will do going forward, whether you choose to go back to work or not, or whatever you want to do. The second part, which to me is also a very important element, is working on the lifestyle. And to me, it's an open-ended approach, because that lifestyle can mean just about anything, can it not?
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's such a good topic. And most people strive for money, strive to make money. And a lot of people sadly believe that's the end. Hey, I made money, that's the end. Lifestyles believes the money is a means to the end. You have to have an end and goal. of what your lifestyle looks like, and your financial stability will be able to get you to where that is. And you're absolutely right. It's trying to think, what is that, kind of dream a little bit, and it kind of gives you hope, and it gives you ability to be able to keep moving on. And Lifestyles has provided that for my family. And my goal is just yours, to start giving back and give back. And that's where this is so different than anything I've ever been a part of. It's not one person thinking that way. It's almost everyone.
Absolutely spot on. Well, we have come to the end of the show. Isaac, I want to thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I think you've made a difference in somebody's life, and that's important to me. And if you want to get started with real estate investing, go to freeworkshoplivestream.com. That's freeworkshoplivestream.com.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.